spend X amount of dollars on marketing, it brings me X amount of leads. From those leads, I can generate X amount of money right now, and that helps me pay for my marketing. How much more do I have to supplement? And it's those kinds of conversations as a PCO that I think is really important, whether it's me as a consultant or whether it's your marketing company, whoever it is, diving into the nitty-gritty details so that you can feel confident about the decisions that you're making for marketing, I think is something that's really, really important. Without further ado, the guy that we have on the podcast today, the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Matt Rogers from Lizard. Matt is the Chief Operating Officer over at Lizard and has sort of single-handedly, with the help of his expert team, helped Natura turn our marketing around.
Oh, not just turned our marketing around, sleuthed. We were having an issue and Matt's team sleuthed and discovered the holes in the bucket and promptly patched those holes. And now the bucket is filling. Filling fast.
Welcome to the Bug Bucks Podcast, a podcast designed to turn you into a bug money millionaire. This episode is brought to you by BugBucks Plus, the #1 training and education platform designed to help you build and scale your pest control company. I am your host, Eric Bassett, and seated right next to me in the BugBucks Plus studio in Vancouver, Washington, my co-host, Jay Klaus. What's up, dude?
What's up, Eric? What's up, my Bug Bucksers?
All right, man. So this was a surprise to me. So Janice shoots me a message and she goes, hey, I don't know if you know this, but Jill is a YouTube sensation. Like, she's got this YouTube channel and it's like becoming a big thing. And I'm like, okay, well, how big of a thing can it really be? How old is Bean? How old is Jill?
Jilly Bean turns 11 next month.
Okay.
She's our baby, our
so
youngest.
I'm thinking, dude, how big of an internet sensation can somebody be
It's nuts.
at 11 years old?
Right.
And she's making these little beaded bracelets.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you know what she does? So in our dining room, there's a thick window. Well, our house is made out of concrete, so the window wells are like 12 inches, 13 inches deep, right? And so there's this window well in the dining room that looks out over the garden, and Jill sits there with her little bead maker. It's a tumbler. Have you ever seen these things?
Yes. I didn't see it until I saw a video of it, which is the weirdest thing.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little tumbler, and you just stick your bead string on the end of it, and it's got a needle with a hook, and you just stick it in there, and as the bead tumbler tumbles around, through, I think it's witchcraft or wizardry, the beads just catch onto the thing and it just strings beads. And so Jill sits there, and this is her business. She asked us to help her start a business, so we helped her create a P&L. So she's got a P&L. She keeps her receipts. She's got a card and everything. So anyway, she sits there all day and she makes beaded bracelets, and then she records them. And then she's made a YouTube channel, and she made a YouTube. It's like three weeks old or 4 weeks old.
Okay, so Janice sends me this information, right? And I'm listening to her and thinking, okay, cool. She's, maybe has a couple hundred subscribers or a few hundred views. That would be super cool for these little Jilly Beads channel, right? Yeah. So I go on. At the time when I saw it, and this was like 5 days ago, okay? At the time that I saw it,
these numbers are way wrong now.
It was like 2,000 subscribers, and I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me. And one of her videos had like 350,000 views, like these shorts that she makes and she puts on YouTube. I'm looking at it right now. You guys should go subscribe. It's Jilly's Beads. Right now she has 3.5 thousand subscribers, 48 videos. And I think her best performing video right now is 1.7 million views. 1.7 million. We should see if we can just overlay this in the actual podcast episode, because you look at the video and you're like, what about this video is so compelling? And it's just her making beaded bracelets.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, thanks everybody. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. This is so great. And she's just so cute.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is what the internet needs right now.
Yeah.
I can't handle it.
We kind of made right now. Isn't that crazy, dude?
Yes.
Jilly's Beads. Go subscribe.
And so we kind of made a deal with her. We're like, look, don't put your face on your YouTube, because there's some creepers out there like that whole dark side of the world is too dark, and I don't want my baby exposed to that.
Nope.
I'm like ultra Papa Bear when it comes to my girls, right?
Yep.
Like if you mess with my daughters, I'll friggin'
problem.
Anyway, yeah, I have said it before, and my wife's like, Jake, you cannot say that in public.
You can't say that on the podcast, Jake.
You can't say it on the podcast either. This is a family show.
This is a blue collar podcast, though, so I feel like you could probably get away with it.
Well, you know what? I bet every single PCO or every single person that's listening to the podcast
Would
right
agree
now
with
that
you.
has daughters says, "Dude, say
Hmm.
no more." I
Exactly.
get it.
We
Yeah,
understand.
yeah, we understand. But yeah, so that's the deal. And then the older kids were kind of like teasing her, like, "Oh yeah, Jill, those are probably all bots." And Jill's like, "No, they're not bots." And I don't think these are
No.
actual. And so I'm thinking, well, if anybody is like being rude to her in the comments, that's really going to hurt me, you know?
Hmm.
So I
Yeah,
went through and I was reading the comments, not a single negative comment.
Dude, they all
that's
love her,
good.
man. They think she's the coolest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
It's
From a
awesome.
monetary perspective, just FYI, I don't think it matters if it's bots, as long that what YouTube cares about is the
Yeah.
viewership.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's working
Yep.
out, right?
So now we're
It's
working on getting
working.
her like, because I think that after, what is it, Matt? After 1,000
Yeah.
subscribers, you
Now
start
you got
getting
to
Yeah.
paid
figure out
to
a college
monetize.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Seriously,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
Unique.
So
Man.
we're going to work on getting that figured out, and Jill's just going to start making money at 11 years old on this YouTube channel.
That's
Yeah.
bananas.
Wild.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
so you
Jilly's Beads.
Jilly's Beads.
Jilly's
That's last
That
Beats.
was
part.
yeah,
Jilly's Beads.
JILLY apostrophe S
Beads.
BEADS.
Yeah.
Jilly's Beads on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have obviously heard in the background the guests that we have today, which we're super excited about. Before I bring them on, of course, just got to remind everybody listening, the best way to receive new episodes is by subscribing to our show on your preferred podcast platform like Apple, YouTube, Audible, or Spotify. If you love the show, please leave us a rating and a review. Make sure to check out our Facebook group, BugBucks Plus, that is BUGBUX Plus. We have the owners only group that has over 5,000 other pest control owners waiting to connect with you and share their thoughts. We also have the BugBucks Pest Pros group for non-owner team members designed to help them develop in their roles. Joining the groups is the best way to connect with us, share your feedback on our show, and have your questions highlighted and discussed here on the podcast. So make sure you find us on Facebook and join one of those groups. All right, dude. Without further ado, the guy that we have on the podcast today, the man, the myth, the legend, the
My
one and
God.
only Matt Rogers from Lizard. Matt is the chief operating officer over at Lizard and has single-handedly, sort of single-handedly, with the help of his expert team, actually helped Natura turn our marketing around.
Oh, not
And
not just turned our marketing around, sleuthed.
salute.
We were having an issue, and Matt's team sleuthed and discovered the holes in the bucket, and
Yes.
we promptly patched those holes, and now the bucket is filling and
Yeah.
filling fast.
Yeah,
Freaking love it.
it's been a crazy little journey, but Matt has helped us so much, along with a lot of our other members. Lizard is one of our premier sponsors in the BugBucks Plus group.
Yep.
Matt, thank you so much for everything you've been doing. How you doing, man?
I am good. I am very good. You know, it's the season's ramping up, and we are working with a lot more PCOs now than we were when you and I first started talking to each other when we first started doing these shows. And
Mm.
so everybody's just got their game face on. Everybody's got their war paint. They have hunkered down. They have bought their chemicals. I hope they are staffed up. I hope they're working on their call centers because my God, that's usually the culprit. And yeah, everybody is just getting ready to put some money down. Everything is starting to come in, and so we're just doing everything we can to keep up ourselves, but also just make sure that our clients are as profitable as possible.
Yeah. Well, and it's been an awesome journey. I mean, Lizard's been alive since how long? How long has it been now?
We're 3 years old. We just crossed the 3-year bridge
Yeah, dude, I
not too long
remember
ago.
the beginnings. I was, recording podcasts with Alan, and I remembered, Alan getting text messages, to the side about Lizard and kind of the beginnings of everything going on. And it's just great to see things take off. It was great to have you guys at Pest World. We had a booth right across from you guys, which was awesome.
We had a
And
party
then,
too.
It
yeah,
was,
that was
dude.
great, dude.
Well,
It was lit.
Lizard and Bug Bucks have a very stellar relationship.
We
We
do.
always had, we always have. We're not just like work associates. We're legitimately good friends. Like we text each other, and
Yeah, dude.
Pretty much on the regular. Guys,
Well,
I
and
have the
Matt,
spot. I have the spot for Orlando, just FYI. I already know where the party's gonna be. I've already booked the room. I'm gonna text it to you. So I don't want people to get like in on it just yet. I'm gonna text it to you. You guys give me the feedback. And I
love
found a
it.
killer location for where we're going when we're in
Love it,
Orlando.
my
party
guy.
TBD.
Okay, sweet. All right. So, Matt, every time we talk, One of the best things that we get from you, some of the best information, is all the updates that are happening in the marketing world.
Right.
And I tell this to all the other PCOs that I work with all the time, like, hey, if you want to do your own marketing, that's cool. Just understand that you're going to get the best results if you stay up to date on all the things that are changing. Because if you continue trying to do the same old things year over year as far as digital marketing goes, you're going to find yourself really, really far behind. So I know that you've got a lot of things for us. Where do you want to start? What do you feel like is the hottest thing right now that's changing in the marketing world?
So I would say this to our the PCOs. I've been in the game for marketing for pest control specifically now long enough to have seen this type of marketing transition happen before. I call it the first marketing renaissance that I experienced, and that is when people were moving away from traditional forms of marketing and thinking about for the first time digital marketing, right? So
Mm.
this was like around the 2012 time. I had stepped into the family business, and at the time, my father was spending tons of money on radio advertising, and an incredible amount of money actually annually on Yellow Page advertising. $325,000 a year on Yellow Page advertising. Okay,
Wow.
and it was such a hard transition for him to get over the hump and start thinking about digital marketing. It was so hard that I had to recruit the help of technicians. And it was kind of sneaky. I hope my dad's listening because it took a lot of work, man. I had technicians that would, when they passed a dumpster that was full of yellow phone books, right? I would have them take a picture of it and text it to me so I could walk it into my dad's office and show him because he was so convinced that the way that he was doing it up until this point was the way that we need to continue to do it. And it took an enormous amount of effort to kind of get him to reframe how he thinks about marketing so that we can use that pool of money and focus it in places that we're going to generate revenue. And that is
Mm.
definitely true for what we are collectively all experiencing right now with the advent of AI and its impacts on digital marketing specifically. This feels like, because I've been at it for a minute. It feels like that. It feels like that time in 2012 where I'm begging people to take this seriously. I'm walking photographs of phone books, piles of phone books in the dumpster into my dad's office, right? This feels like that when
Faxing
I'm
all
talking to
this one.
PCOs. Yeah, people aren't taking it seriously yet, but I am already. I brought some stats. If I can talk about Orange, Eric, I brought some
Yeah.
stats from clients that are already receiving the benefits of tweaks to their perspective of digital marketing now. So I'd love to help our community understand what KPIs they were probably focusing on even last year, even at the beginning of this year, and how they need to be focused on subtly some different KPIs for the rest of this year and probably going forward.
Love it, dude. I am
It's a
all
lot.
ears and I'm super
Oh
excited about
yeah,
this.
yeah. Well, let me just jump in here and say this too. So, I've been in. This marks actually, I think last month, or maybe this month, maybe right now marks like the exact moment that I entered the pest control world,
Hmm.
20 years ago. And so, being in the game for 20 years, I can see how over time, you just kind of like you get stuck in a mind frame. It's like when you see your nephews that you haven't seen in 5 years, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, you've gotten so big." Well, the world changes and it moves forward without you, right?
Hmm.
And so knowing that Matt is like, dude, Matt is to like digital marketing, what like Warren Buffett. Wait, is it Warren Buffett or Jimmy
Shut
Buffett?
up.
Warren Buffett?
Man.
Which one? The
Not
rich
Jimmy.
guy or the music guy?
Yeah, I'm like, I can't believe that Margaritaville guy is like the richest man in the world. Holy crap, right? So Matt is to digital marketing what Warren Buffett is to
Oh
investing,
yeah.
right?
I
I mean,
appreciate
so,
that.
so Matt is on top of things. Matt is in the know, and it's great because there's a lot of new companies that are starting up by these youngsters
Hmm.
who
Whippersnappers.
know the whippersnappers that understand all this stuff and are like they're in it. And then there's like the old timers like me that dude, I don't know how to do this crap. And so having Matt here to know all this stuff and
Connect
stay
some
ahead of
dots.
trends, dude, he knows it. So if you're listening and you need some insight on this, take notes, and then call Lizard.
100%. 1000% actually.
Call
Okay.
Matt.
I
So
appreciate
Matt,
that.
let's start off. Let's talk about these KPIs. And I want to know, looking back, what kind of KPIs were owners, and hopefully, if they're kind of paying attention to their digital marketing, what were they paying attention to, and how have those changed, and why is that so important? We're going to take a quick moment to highlight one of the premier sponsors of the BugBucks Plus platform. Treat where they hide, treat where they eat. Cockroaches and small flies are among the most challenging pests to eliminate because they often hide in hard-to-reach areas like drains or beneath and behind equipment. Nibor D plus IGR from Nisus is a powerful solution combining a ready-to-use insecticide foam with an insect growth regulator. This versatile product can be sprayed on non-food surfaces or applied deep into drains and other hard-to-reach areas using the included 17-inch flexible semi-rigid straw. The foam penetrates where cockroaches and small flies live, eat, and breed, targeting these pests at the source. Make sure to stock Nibor D plus IGR from Nisus on your truck so you can tackle small fly and cockroach problems in your commercial and residential accounts. To learn more about how Nisus and their product lineup can take your company to the next level, DM the phrase Nisus to the BugBucks Facebook page. Now back to the BugBucks podcast.
Okay. I'll frame it like this, okay? What my first encouragement to the PCOs that are listening to us, if you haven't started to play with AI, you need to, right? I would encourage you to work with Gemini, ask Gemini some questions, work with ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT some questions. Because what I need you to understand, and the reason that that's important, is what we're actually talking about is how these language learning, artificial intelligence, how they come by their conclusions and the information they're offering you, right? They source it, and what we want to start tweaking our vision towards is the places where AI is sourcing its information. And what is AI looking for? Because when you're working with a digital marketing company, you want to make sure that they have this in mind when they're planning out content for you, when they're planning out keywords, campaigns, website formats, the voice of your company, right? When they're working on your business profile, all that stuff. You're going to want them to know that they need to be thinking about this in a way that helps artificial intelligence grab this information and offer it to the user. Because artificial intelligence is very much like Google, right? Last year, this time, what were we talking about? We were talking about pay-per-click, CPLs. We were talking about LSAs. We were talking about conversions on websites, right? And all this happens inside of Google. Well, ChatGPT, these language learning platforms are like Google, and they're grabbing information from somewhere, and we want to back their play. That's how you stay current with what's going on, right? So I've got a couple of examples. I wrote some notes. A couple of old metrics that are going to be less important as we go forward is things like impressions, right? When you used to get your reports from your digital marketing company, they would have that number of impressions and it would have a number, and you used to want to make sure that number went up, right? That would let you know that it's like passing a billboard on an interstate, right? That would let you know that you're getting in front of more people and that your digital marketing company is doing a good job, right? But
Impressions
because of
mean
how
like impressions just mean like people
eyeballs,
seeing the ad,
yep,
Yep. Yep.
yep,
seeing it. Whether
eyeballs on the ad, right?
okay, all right.
And the higher your impression, and if your offer was good, that would translate into a conversion, right?
Yep.
The thing that's changing now is when I ask, and I hope, if you ask Siri, right? If you ask Alexa, if you ask Chat, if you ask Gemini, question, I want to find a maid service near me. I want to find a pest control company near me. I'm not looking at anything, right? I'm reading what it has offered me. I'm not looking at an ad that you've paid to put out there. And so you need to know that impressions are going to start going down over time. And this isn't necessarily, you need to work with a good digital marketing company. This doesn't necessarily mean that your digital marketing company is doing bad. It could mean that they're leveraging artificial intelligence to find you in other ways. Okay? That's the first one. The second one is click-through rate. These things are connected, right? I'll put it back into that metaphor of a billboard. If you're driving down the interstate and you pass a billboard, it's unlikely that that billboard has anything to do with what you are interested in, generally speaking. You're not often
Mhm.
looking for an injury attorney.
Liposuction,
You're not, right? You're not often
breast
looking for a
augmentation.
jeweler, breast
Although,
augmentation. You're not
you know, who
often
knows?
Divorce,
looking for these
divorce
things.
attorney,
Divorce, yeah,
all the
that's
billboards.
how it
Divorce
always
attorney,
goes.
maybe.
All the billboards we see going through Utah.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes in order,
So
right?
many.
Breast augmentation, and then the divorce attorney.
And then and the real estate agent,
Right? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's how it works.
Well,
Follow the
that's
path.
all. Follow the path. That's all that Google is, right? Google is creating billboards for people that are searching for something. The difference between driving down the road and passing breast augmentation, I don't need breast augmentation, right? But with Google, I'm looking for pest control near me. And so it offers me an ad. When it offers me an ad, that's an impression, okay? If the offer on the ad sucks, you're going to get bad click-through rate. That's the second KPI, and it is tied to impressions, okay? So if the offer is no good, sometimes you'll talk to a PCO that is just convinced they have the best offer in time. I got one PCO right now that's killing me. They have the most expensive annual package, right? And the one offer that they had was doing the highest conversion, doing the most work for them. They just took it down. I'm like, guys, what are you doing, right? So impressions and click-through rates are connected. So if you see your impressions come down, your click-through rates are going to start to slowly come down also. And I want to put one thing in perspective in terms of how quickly should this happen. Okay, AI is not taking over so rapidly that everybody needs to go get a shotgun and a motorcycle and look for Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, that's not it.
Dang
I
it,
think
that
in the
was my
first that's the best movie ever, right? But
yes, absolutely, yeah.
in the first quarter, I think Google saw a dip in like 2% of its 4 billion searches. Okay. So it's happening. It's not happening at a crazy high speed, but this transition to Google has elevated Gemini to the top of search, right? And so it's going to be happening very quickly. So staying in front of it. So impressions, click through rates, those are going to start to come down. And then average positioning, right? Average positioning is tied to those things also. Average positioning means how well was your ad placed in front of Eric when he was searching for a car detailer, right? And this is how that works. For a digital marketing company, we work on things called quality scores inside of Google, quality scores of your ads, right? We try to keep our quality score above 95%. And if it's above 95%, that usually means that when you're searching for something, we're going to get an exact match with what you searched. And it's going to offer you our ad first and drive down the cost of the ad. Okay.
Hmm.
Because these things are kind of linked up together, impressions are going to come down because that's not what AI is looking for, right? Click-through rate is going to come down because people aren't looking necessarily at ads, right? And then your average positioning is going to become less important over time. But here are some, I know I'm talking a lot now, but here are some,
Well,
okay,
I might
hit
just
it.
say here, just hold on a second. I
Yep.
know a lot of people listen to podcasts on like 1.2 or 1.5 speed. Listen, if that's you, start the episode over, slow it down to 0.75
Sorry.
speed. So you can keep notes. No, this is
Yeah.
and there we only have like 45 minutes on the episode. And so,
Okay.
Matt, you do what you do.
Yeah,
We can
I'll do it.
slow it down and listen,
yeah,
right?
the tactical approach to this is very much appreciated. So Matt, you just keep doing
Yeah.
your thing.
No, keep
Yes,
going.
yes. Well, Eric, you actually modified this for me as our relationship built. So the first KPI I want PCOs to pay attention to is their cost per qualified lead. Okay, that needs to be a higher value when you're having your one-on-one meeting with your digital marketing company. And a good cost per qualified lead is going to be an indication that your digital marketing team is doing everything they can well, especially with the advent of AI, to get you a solid lead. They're helping people find you and they're helping people find you at a cost-effective rate. Okay, if your cost for qualified lead is going up, oh man, I could camp here. If your cost per qualified lead goes up, there's only two things that are wrong. Okay, only two. Okay, you can only go one direction or the other. Either your digital marketing team sucks, or your sales team sucks. It's one or the other. Okay, so if you're finding that your cost per qualified lead is going up, you need to investigate both of these things. Have a heart to heart. My dad would say a come to Jesus meeting with your digital marketing company. Have a come to Jesus meeting with your inside sales team, right? Have those conversations because that's where the problem is. Okay. So that's the first one. The second one was lead to sale conversion rate, right? Again, we're
Mhm.
looking for quality there, that we want to make sure that a lead isn't just coming in, but it's making it to the schedule, right? And that's going to let
Yes.
us know that your digital marketing company is doing everything they can. How many types of asset conversions are happening, right? And here's what that means. If you're working with Lizard, we are using every trick in the book to not just offer like one ad for your company, offer as many ads as possible, right? And we're tracking the conversion rate for all of the ads. I think there's something like 20 different assets without including image and display and video assets for each of the clients that we work with, right? So, what you're paying attention to is your digital marketing company offering a high volume of assets, giving AI and Google as many things to use as possible to get out in front of that user. Okay. And then the next one, I'm getting close to be able to share some data. Shout out Orange, love you, Jonathan. Engagement rates across platforms, right? Engagement rates means someone has made it to your website and they have made a buying decision, right? That's a KPI that's probably you haven't been paying too much attention to because your digital marketing team has cared more about CPL and lead volume over time, right? But those engagement rates are going to become important because mostly like we'll use that example again. I'm looking for pest control near me, chat GPT. What have you got? It's going to give me a breakdown of companies that are sourced through Google business profiles. I have therefore on my phone flipped through these business profiles and seen who's got a good rating, and then I've made it to the website of Natura, and I'm going to make a buying decision here, right? Your digital marketing team should be able to say, hey, these people came in through your business profile and they made a buying decision. That closed the loop between we created content that AI knew how to find. They made it to your website. They made a buying decision. Okay. Engagement rates across multiple platforms. That's SEO, paid search, and organic social. I know we don't use that as much, but it's a good branding tool.
Hmm.
And then finally, your brand growth over time. Natura's stats for last month were great. I'm not just saying that because we're here, right? There should be a distinction between people searching for you directly and then people who found you organically, right? And if your digital marketing company is doing a good job, your brand awareness, your brand value inside of your respective markets is increasing. And you want to make sure that that's happening. That's a KPI you want to measure. So those 4 KPIs are cost per qualified lead, lead to sale conversion rate, I'm sorry, assisted conversions and multi-touch. That's multi-touch attributions, right? Lots of things going on to get those conversions, engagement rates, right? And then the last one is branded search over time. You want to see that number improve. That was a lot. Sorry.
No, Matt, it's
Dang.
it's
Okay.
great. And honestly, it's funny because when we have these conversations, I realize that there are PCOs out there that are just kind of throwing money at marketing and they're hoping for the phone to ring and they're hoping that somebody answers the phone and closes a deal. And like that's it. That's all they're doing, you know? The metrics, the KPIs, the measurements of the actual progress that they're making, that doesn't really exist. So when we have these conversations, it's it's great to get this information out there because typically you have to sit down with a high level marketing executive like yourself and actually ask these questions to get that information. If you Google digital marketing, or ask Gemini, right? It'll give you a lot of information, but unless you have some context as to what to do with it, it's heavy and it's a lot.
It's so
So
much.
I really appreciate you kind of diving into this from a tactical perspective and letting these PCOs know, hey, these are the important things you need to keep an eye on. And even if you weren't before, or if you were looking at something different before, these are things you need to look at as far as improvement going forward. So that's killer, dude.
Okay, two questions. Two questions. First question: is it reasonable that a pest control owner who's trying to do their own marketing can figure this stuff out on their own? And secondly, how do you even find out all of those things?
I I want to make sure I take my experience off when I answer this for people that are trying to figure it out. Like for me, I had a great partner with Mike Pinkney, Pinkney Harmon Marketing here in town. Shout out Mike Pinkney. I don't know how many times I shout him out here. 11 years we worked together. Okay. And most of what I learned, because I came from graphic design, I was in education. Okay. Most of what I learned in the School of Hard Knocks from that climb from 2012 to 2018, right? That was a huge client. It was a $20 million client, right? And it was all trial and error, trial by fire. And what I knew at the end of that 6 months was drastic, or 6 years is drastically different than the beginning. So my first recommendation for PCOs that are trying to figure out what the next step is, pay attention to be in communities like this one. This is a shout out for Bug Bucks. What I love about what you guys have built over time is this resource where people are sharing information together. We made that $20 million climb alone on an island, okay? And it sucked. It was hard, right? All the gray hairs I have came from that, right? And so having a connection to be able to pop into a community and say, hey, my digital marketing company says this, what do you think? And getting feedback, take it with a grain of salt because everybody's got their experience. But to be able to ask those questions and receive answers is good. And to be able to have a solid digital marketing partner is also good. I would have never made that $20 million climb without Mike Painting. Not a chance in hell, okay? And so have a partner who will take the time to walk you through it. I had that dude on speed dial, and that's what counted, right? When dad was losing his shit and the shit was rolling downhill and it was coming at me, I would ring up Mike Pinkney as fast as possible. Like, Mike, I don't know what this means. And he would. He'd take my call. I would always get 2 a.m. calls from dad. He'd take my call first thing in the morning, 6 a.m. Guys, don't call me at 6 a.m. Jesus. But have a strong digital marketing partner. Yeah,
Right.
and then commit to learning, right? As a business owner, this is your baby. And there are 4 aspects to your company, okay? There's marketing, which is what makes the phone ring. There's sales, which closes the leads that are coming into your business. There's operations, which is how well you can get out to these clients before they fall off and you're booked out too far and you lose them. And then there's AP and AR at the back of the house, just raking in the dough, okay? You should have a solid profit margin for a pest control company. Jesus, if you don't, you're doing something wrong. I'm just letting you know. So this is one of the 4 key components of your company. Just like you're paying attention to how much your technicians are spending, buying gas for their neighbor, you should be paying attention to these KPIs that we're laying out here. Okay, you should care. You may not be able to give it like your full attention, but block out some time through the month to say, okay, before I meet with or after I meet with my digital marketing company, I'm going to commit to opening up ChatGPT, feeding it this report, talking to it about it, and getting some feedback and learning from the community that I'm involved in. I'm going to commit to that, because if you're not committed to that, you're not truly invested in your business. I hate to say, this is one of the 4 pillars of your business. You have got to sync up with your digital marketing company. It is important. Sorry.
Well, and
So how do you find it? So how do you find that information? Sorry, so that's the second question. How,
Yeah.
how do you find those KPIs?
So this podcast helps, right? But even from I'll put my lizard hat on now, right? In this renaissance, think of it the Wild West, right? The Great Western Expansion, right? We were all traveling out towards California and staking our claim. That's really what's happening now with digital marketing. A lot of what's happening with AI and its impacts on how we do what we do on behalf of our clients hasn't really resolved fully yet. And it's going to be changing even still. So you want to be paired up with a digital marketing partner that is taking advantage of these things and keeping an eye on KPIs for you and is coming to the table, not trying to like hoodwink you, because how many guys, how many PCOs have we talked to that have shitty previous experience of digital marketing companies and think that all of us are like out to get them, right?
Yep.
How many?
Yep.
You want a digital marketing partner that's bringing these KPIs to you and will take the time to educate you. That's a big deal. So talk to chat, find these KPIs, have some grace, and know that your digital marketing company is heading out west with you, right? This is our living that we're trying to make as well, right? And learn together, be partners with each other as you're kind of working together, because your digital marketing team is only as good as the feedback that the PCO is getting them. Full stop. Here's a perfect example. Eric, if you didn't take as meticulous notes that you do with your team internally, we would have never seen the problem that we uncovered last October. It would have never happened, right? You've got to be partners together and committed to overcoming obstacles together. And we are in the middle of a big ass obstacle. Artificial intelligence has changed the game. Full stop.
Yeah, dude. Well, and one of the things that I always think about when it comes to outsourcing stuff, especially marketing or you name it, doesn't matter. People, and we've had this conversation before where, you're paying for that person's experience, right? That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I like to take it a step further and say that when you hire a third party, what you're actually paying for is that person's mistakes, right? All the
My God.
mistakes that that person has made leading up to them being who they are, like all the pain, all the suffering, all the money that they lost to get the experience to get them to where they are today, you are helping pay for those mistakes so
Yeah.
that you don't have to pay for your own mistakes
Right.
in the future.
Yep.
So, you know,
So
it's
true.
hard even if you have the information, you go on YouTube, you go on Google, and you're like, okay, how do I become a digital marketer, right? And you just consume, 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 and educate yourself. The pathway that you're going to put yourself on if you do your own digital marketing, you're going to be paying for your own mistakes,
Right.
right? And some of those can be really, really expensive.
Yeah.
When you hire a third-party marketing company or any third-party anything, they're helping you to understand what's around that curve, what's around that corner, so that you don't have to make the same mistake. And they're giving you that experience for pennies on the dollar for what it probably cost
Yeah.
them,
Yep.
right? You know, I had a client, consulting client, that is signing with Lizard, probably as we
I
speak, right?
heard.
There's some signed
Yeah.
documents, right? So, yeehaw, congratulations for everybody.
Thank you.
Um, and it was cool because he reached out to me and he said, "Hey, Eric, you know, I want to get into digital marketing. I want to be aggressive. This is my season to grow. You know, I've talked to Lizard. I really love what they've got going on. I trust them. You've used them before. You trust them. What I need to know is how do I know how much money I need to put into marketing, right? Like he has a smaller outfit, and so he has some money set aside that he can supplement his marketing budget for. But he's like, I've got these sales that are going to be coming in. How much money can I put from those sales to kind of offset my marketing budget, right? And so him and I ended up building this whole spreadsheet that helps him understand visually, okay, at the end of the day, here's the over under that I'm going to be at. You know, if I spend X amount of dollars on marketing, it brings me X amount of leads. From those leads, I can generate X amount of money right now, and that helps me pay for my marketing. How much more do I have to supplement, right?
Yeah.
And it's those kinds of conversations as a PCO that I think is really important to be having with whoever, right? Whether it's me as a consultant or whether it's your marketing company, whoever it is, like diving into the nitty gritty details so that you can feel confident about the decisions that you're making for marketing, I think is something that's really, really important. So I say all that to maybe highlight this, right? You have limited time as a pest control operator to get stuff done, right? You're leading your team, you're developing your technicians, you're hiring new sales staff, you're training CSRs, whatever that is. It takes a lot of time and effort and experience to do marketing well, right? Eventually you could do that, but at what cost, right? What else could you be spending your time on so that you could make sure you have the most effective pest control company? And if you weren't worried about marketing, how much better could you be,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I hate to monologue there for a second, but Matt, you've inspired me. I just had to say it.
I
No,
received that. That's
those are all
awesome.
great points. And you know, it's the same reason why you go to the doctor. Well, I don't really even talk about doctors. You know, sometimes you trust them, sometimes you don't. But you know,
I love my
you
doctor.
go to the doctor and he bills you $500 an hour, right? Or let's say an attorney, right? And you say, "Wow, you're $500 an hour. Why? You know, why are you billing $500 an hour?" Well, he's not billing you for the hour. He's billing you for the 55 years that he spent getting to the point where in that 1 hour, he can give you the results and the answers that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Same way with digital
Yeah.
marketing. Matt's been in this game
So
forever.
true.
He understands it. He knows how the game works. Why would I mess around with my time trying to figure out, spending weeks trying to figure out what Matt's already got
Well, dude,
nailed down?
me and Jenna were talking about this the other day. You know, there's two different types of people who go to see doctors. Okay, you either go to see a doctor when you're sick, and you're trying to fix a problem, right? Or you're the type of person that goes to see a doctor because you want to live the most optimal life that you can, right?
Yes.
And if you go to a doctor and and you say, "Hey, doctor, am I healthy?" Right? Well, he's going to look at you. He's going to do some tests, maybe run some blood work, whatever, and he's going to say, you know, based on the national average of all these different numbers and whatever, sure, pal, you're healthy, right? But the real question is, doctor, like, how do I live the most optimally healthy, high performing life that I can? Like, what's on the cutting edge of medicine? Like, what can I really do to make myself, you know, be the best version of me, right? And there's not a lot of doctors that study that kind of medicine because most of
Right.
the medicine that they study is all reactive. It's not proactive medicine. So, you
Yes.
know,
Preventative care. So
exactly.
important.
So One of the cool things that I really like about Lizard, and I have meetings with Cameron once a week, my preference, by the way. I'm sure that Lizard would rather not meet with me so much. But we have these meetings once a week, and the cool thing is it's not just reactive prescriptions, right? We're not just reacting to what's going on in the market, just like Matt's talking about right now. We're trying to be proactive. We're not trying to have healthy companies or just normal companies or basic successful companies. We want to go out there and kill it, right? We want
Yeah.
to have the best versions of our companies as we possibly can. And having that person in your corner is how you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, what are we doing, right? What is your digital marketing company doing other than breaking in a check, right? And then what are
Hmm.
you doing as a business owner than cutting a check and hoping for good results, right? Got to have that
Exactly.
conversation, got to have that partnership.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that's a perfect kind of segue to, I know that we're like short on time, but I want to go back to that metaphor of we're heading out west.
Hmm.
Natura's heading out west, PCOs are heading out west, and digital marketing companies, Lizard's heading out west as AI changes how we do things, right? And what's interesting is there is a reactive nature. We have to respond to how things are changing around us so that your digital marketing company and you guys can adjust and accommodate to those changes. And in that way we can be proactive, right? Thinking about and because there's an aspect of reaction that we all have to do in real time in our weekly meetings, and proactivity. One of the things I've been talking about from Potomac, I've talked to you guys about it here before, and it was like a sliver in my mind as AI started to hit this very hasty launch, and that was PCOs are going to really struggle with the value of SEO. And it's because it's been such a slow game in the past. And we've had more people jump on board with us with PCOs. I'm bringing Orange's data to the table today, right?
Hmm.
We have more people jump on board with us with SEO now that have heeded my warning. The truth is, when we think about how AI grabs information and offers it to the user, what you need to know as the business owner is your SEO is going to make or break your ability to offer AI good information. Okay. AI is looking for your business just like Google is looking for your business. And if your SEO is done well, it's going to weed out lazy digital marketing, quite frankly, right? And it's going to offer your content as a source of authority. I wrote a couple of things down. AI isn't it's swallowing clicks. Okay, this metric for clicks is going to go down over time because when I talk to ChatGPT, I usually just keep the conversation going. I hardly leave the platform, honestly, right? So what's happening is top funnel queries are kind of going away. You're catching people in the sales funnel for your digital marketing company is catching people more in the middle or the bottom of the funnel now, right? Not out here at the tip top where it's hard to find them, right? And the thing that AI is doing and your digital marketing company should be doing to help AI is using a method of content creation that's called EAT, EEAT. That's creating content that is letting people know that Natura has experience, right? Natura are experts in their fields. Natura has authority. Look at these reviews, right, guys? We got to get some more reviews on one of your Google My Business profiles. I'm just saying.
You got it.
Yeah. And look at the trust. Look at the trust. Your business profiles really are going to be changing the game, right? Because AI, Gemini, and ChatGPT are sourcing your business profiles and offering it to the user because of those components: experience, expertise, authority, and trust. If you've got 1,000 reviews and you've got a 4.9 rating, Chat is going to grab your business profile and it's going to offer it up to the user. Okay. So I'm going to give you, I'm going to spill some tea, some orange pest control tea. I love orange. You brought orange to the table
Orange
Here's
is
still
about
the
two
orange.
years ago.
Here's
They're
still
so
orange.
awesome.
Yep.
Their Google business profile coded number went up 44% last month over month, right? Meaning
Mm-hmm.
the content that we are creating, the authority that they have, right? The experience, the expertise that they have, and the trust that is all embedded in their business profile, combined with the keywords that